Did you know that there is a community right in the heart of America, often described as rejecting the modern world? The Amish lead simple lives, avoiding modern conveniences, but beneath their modest exterior lie secrets that might leave you astonished. Imagine a dating tradition where couples share a bed but are strictly prohibited from any physical contact. In a society where homosexuality is considered unacceptable, how do romantic relationships unfold? What truly happens behind closed bedroom doors might leave you speechless. Get ready to uncover the shocking secrets of the hidden, intimate lives the Amish have kept private until now. The Amish community lives entirely isolated from the modern world. They avoid using cars, televisions, or any type of machinery, and individual identity is regarded as insignificant. Their religious beliefs shape nearly every aspect of life, including cultural views on relationships and family life. Homosexuality is deemed inappropriate, reflecting values deeply rooted in their interpretation of the Bible. Inappropriate, alongside other behaviors the Amish believe contradict their interpretation of the Bible, homosexuality is viewed through a lens of moral strictness. Although church leaders claim such feelings are rare, it is unlikely that any community is entirely immune. So what happens when someone within this traditional society begins to question their identity? Public acknowledgement is almost unheard of, as deeply rooted beliefs label such tendencies undesirable, creating an environment where few feel safe to express themselves. Young Amish who wish to live authentically risk losing their families, their communities, and the only life they have ever known. These individuals wrestle with emotions they were taught to suppress and that are not accepted within their culture. Facing this often leaves them isolated. The Amish perspective does not arise from the absence of LGBTQ+ individuals, but from a cultural framework that leaves little room for acceptance. In Amish doctrine, homosexuality is regarded as a moral failing rather than a personal identity, causing many to conceal their true selves or leave the community altogether. For those who remain, counseling is available, though it focuses on guiding individuals to conform to church teachings rather than fostering acceptance. The Amish hold that all people, including LGBTQ+ individuals, are worthy of love. However, romantic relationships are expected to adhere strictly to their faith's guidelines. Within Amish communities, relationships may follow unique paths similar to those in other societies, but the cultural framework shapes how these relationships unfold. When relationships result in pregnancy, couples may face distinct challenges. In such cases, they are often encouraged to marry quickly, leading to weddings held outside the traditional season. This reflects the community's emphasis on preserving its moral standards and ensuring that family structures align with religious expectations. To avoid public embarrassment for the family, the Amish community often resolves premarital relationships through hastily arranged marriages. These expedited weddings serve as a discreet way to address such situations, while maintaining the community's emphasis on moral standards. Marriage within the Amish culture represents not only a commitment to a spouse, but also a deep devotion to faith. According to a 2023 study by the Young Center for Anabaptist and Pietist Studies, over 80% of Amish young adults choose to marry within the community by age 25. By marrying young, couples embrace family life as an extension of their dedication to the church and to one another, fostering strong bonds that last throughout their lives. Unlike many Western societies where remarriage is common, the Amish remain firmly committed to monogamy as a central principle. Romantic relationships are guided by simplicity and modesty, and topics related to romance are often treated with significant discretion. In contrast to mainstream education, where sexual education is a standard part of the curriculum, Amish schools completely avoid the subject. This silence surrounding sexual education reflects a broader cultural value. Instead of formal instruction, Amish children and adolescents acquire a basic and informal understanding of reproduction. They often learn by observing farm animals, satisfying their curiosity through conversations with friends or overhearing adult discussions. Consequently, Amish youth approach adulthood with a gradual and somewhat fragmented understanding of reproduction. This informal learning process contrasts sharply with the structured, fact-based sexual education provided in non-Amish communities. raising important questions about how Amish young adults prepare for marriage and family life. Without the structured knowledge typically gained from formal sexual education, Amish individuals often enter family life unprepared. According to experts like Dr. Donald Craybill of the Young Center for Anabaptist and Pietist Studies, this knowledge gap can lead to misunderstandings and challenges for young Amish couples. They may lack a clear understanding of reproduction, consent, and bodily autonomy, which can leave many Amish women, in particular, feeling unprepared for the realities of marriage and family life. Imagine transitioning from a world where horse-drawn carriages replace cars, technology is nearly non-existent, and life revolves around faith, family, and tradition. For Amish youth, this is the backdrop of Rumspringa, a transformative period granting them a rare opportunity to experience the outside world. Often romanticized as a time of freedom, Rumspringa is much more than an escape from Amish restrictions. It is an intense, deeply personal journey where young Amish men and women explore what life might be like outside their traditional way of living. During Rumspringa, they may experiment with modern fashion, embrace social media, attend parties, or even try alcohol and engage in romantic relationships. While this period allows them to test boundaries, it comes with the expectation that they will ultimately return to the community, often with a deeper commitment to their faith and family. However, for some, this period of exploration leads to challenging questions about their identity and sense of belonging. Interestingly, studies on Amish retention rates reveal that an overwhelming majority, up to 90%, choose to return to their communities, embracing baptism and fully committing to the Amish way of life. This statistic highlights the powerful draw of family and faith, even when contrasted with a world offering far greater freedoms. For those who choose not to return, the decision often means separation from their families and embarking on a completely new life in an unfamiliar world. What would you do if given the chance to experience life outside everything you've ever known? Would you explore the modern world or remain devoted to tradition? Let us know in the comments. What would your Rumspringa look like? Amish parents and teachers, however, view protecting children from romantic topics as a way to preserve their innocence and reinforce the community's values of modesty and chastity. This approach keeps the boundaries of appropriate knowledge tightly controlled, but also places a heavy reliance on informal learning and shared cultural norms. This system reflects a long-held belief within the community that less exposure to worldly topics fosters a stronger connection to faith and tradition. What do you think about the Amish approach of removing sexual education from the classroom? Do you think it is justified? If you agree, comment number 1. If you disagree, comment 0. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. In most societies, courtship involves some form of dating, where couples get to know each other through shared activities or conversations. But in Amish culture, a centuries-old practice called bundling offers a completely different approach. Bundling is a premarital tradition in which a courting couple spends the night together in the same bed, fully dressed. However, the rules are strict. While they can lie next to each other, physical contact is strictly prohibited. Bundling is intended as a ritual that allows young men and women to talk freely and form an emotional bond without the pressures or distractions of physical intimacy. By creating an environment focused on companionship rather than physical connection, Amish culture offers a unique way for young couples to explore compatibility in a manner that respects their values and traditions. Typically, couples practicing bundling may lie in the same bed, separated by a board or barrier to avoid any accidental contact. Sometimes they are placed in sacks to ensure they remain separated while still sharing the bed. In other cases, 2 beds may be pushed together, allowing proximity while still maintaining a physical barrier. The idea is to remove any temptation for physical intimacy. Instead, focusing on creating emotional closeness, the Amish community prioritizes emotional connection over physical attraction in courtship, emphasizing the values of modesty and restraint. In an environment where arranged marriages are common and formal sex education doesn't exist, bundling serves as a socially acceptable way for couples to spend time together in a controlled setting before making a lifelong commitment. Historically, bundling was not unique to the Amish. It was a common practice in other societies in Europe and early America. However, as social norms changed, the practice faded elsewhere but found a lasting place within Amish tradition. Over time, some modern Amish communities have moved away from bundling, allowing other forms of courtship that are more closely aligned with contemporary customs, such as supervised dating. Nonetheless, bundling remains a fascinating example of how Amish customs prioritize emotional connection over physical contact in relationships. Alongside their romantic lives in a world entirely separate from modern society, the question arises, how do the Amish approach family planning? For the Amish, life is often guided by faith, tradition, and a belief in natural order. This perspective has traditionally extended to family planning, where many Amish families believe in leaving such decisions to God. However, like any community, the Amish experience shifts in beliefs over time, and new perceptions suggest subtle changes, particularly in their approach to contraception. Historically, Amish families were large, with 6 to 10 children being common. The principle of welcoming many children stems from the belief that family size should reflect divine will rather than human choice. However, a slight decline in family size over the past decade has raised questions. Researchers, including Amish studies expert Dr. Donald Crable, note that some Amish individuals are now considering family planning options, signaling an evolving attitude. Contraceptive use remains rare in the Amish community, but subtle changes are occurring. Certain couples, particularly those with health considerations or those approaching the end of their childbearing years, may consult healthcare providers about birth control options. In some cases, natural family planning methods are used, which align more closely with Amish values because they allow couples to avoid contraceptives while still exercising some control over family size. For older women, sterilization has become a more accepted option, especially for those who face difficulties with additional pregnancies. When individuals seek medical advice, particularly in rural clinics where doctors may recommend family planning for health reasons, they may find themselves navigating options that previous generations would not have considered. Although these choices may be limited, they represent a shift from a purely fate-driven approach to one that occasionally incorporates more modern practices. It involves medical recommendations. According to Dr. Sell, this trend of using minimal or natural methods is likely a sign of modernization, a slow transition from viewing family size as an immutable destiny to a conscious choice. This subtle shift is particularly intriguing within a culture that typically resists modernization, suggesting that Amish values may adapt to address health concerns and practices. Living in isolated, tight-knit communities, the Amish are known for preserving traditional ways of life, but this comes with certain challenges. One of the most sensitive issues arising from this lifestyle is the limited genetic pool, which can lead to concerns about inbreeding. As the Amish population is limited and few outsiders join the community, it is not surprising that married couples may be distant relatives, sometimes even second cousins. The Amish population is estimated to be about 375,000 in North America by 2024, growing primarily through internal marriages rather than conversions or marriages with outsiders. This growth has led to what scientists call the founder effect, where a small initial population of settlers expands within itself over generations but without new genetic diversity. As a result, certain genetic conditions are more prevalent in Amish communities than in the general population, such as Ellis Van Creveld syndrome, a rare form of dwarfism, and other recessive disorders. Amish communities are aware of the genetic risks associated with inbreeding or marrying within the same genetic group. Many families, particularly in smaller settlements, encourage young people to seek spouses from neighboring Amish communities, which allows for a slight increase in genetic variation. While this practice does not eliminate the risks completely, it helps reduce the likelihood of recessive genetic disorders. Larger Amish communities, such as those in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Holmes County, Ohio, typically have a higher number of families and therefore face fewer risks than smaller, more isolated communities. Although the Amish do not have a formal policy on genetic counseling or medical testing, Some communities are gradually opening up to these practices. In certain cases, Amish families consult healthcare providers specializing in genetic disorders common within their population, helping them understand and manage the health risks associated with marriages between close relatives. The issue of inbreeding brings the social dynamics of Amish communities bring complex issues to light. The Amish emphasize tradition, family, and community ties, making marriage outside the group rare. However, in smaller settlements where marriage options are limited, younger generations face the challenge of being too closely related to potential partners. As a result, some Amish youth are encouraged to visit other communities or attend large gatherings to meet people from different settlements. Researchers have long studied genetic conditions among the Amish to understand how isolated genetic pools impact health, leading to advancements that benefit both the Amish and the broader medical community. Healthcare professionals working with Amish families have developed methods that respect their values while helping to manage the challenges of limited genetic diversity. Similarly, the absence of sex education creates a situation where individuals, especially women, are vulnerable. Amish traditions and family structures create a society where male authority is emphasized, extending deeply into marriage and relationships. At the core of this system is a patriarchal structure in which men hold primary authority within both the family and the community, often influencing the daily lives of Amish women. In this environment, traditional views shape marital expectations, including those surrounding romantic life and consent. Amish women are taught the role of submission from an early age, with values of obedience and modesty reinforced throughout their education. Upon entering marriage, many Amish women face the expectation of fulfilling their husband's needs as part of their marital duty. The concept of consent, as understood in mainstream society, is not commonly discussed in Amish communities. As a result, sexual autonomy is often limited, and many Amish women may feel unable to assert boundaries regarding intimacy, as such conversations are rarely, if ever, encouraged. The lack of formal sex education in Amish schools means many women enter marriage without a full understanding of their bodies, reproductive health, or the concept of mutual consent. This lack of understanding can lead to situations where women are uncertain about their rights within marriage. For men, too, the cultural silence surrounding these topics fosters an environment where traditional expectations are not challenged, reinforcing the belief that romantic activity within marriage operates solely on the husband's terms. This environment also imposes difficulties on young Amish women, who may feel that maintaining their role in the family depends on adhering to these expectations. Those who attempt to speak out often face stigmas, as community norms discourage open discussions about personal or marital concerns. Some ex-Amish women have shared their stories, raising awareness about these issues and calling for a more balanced perspective on consent and autonomy. Their accounts, shared through books, online platforms, and documentaries, shed light on the restrictive nature of traditional Amish marriage expectations. As more individuals bravely leave the Amish community, they reveal the deeply ingrained patterns within this isolated society. These testimonies have sparked calls for support and change, particularly for those struggling in their marriages. Support organizations and networks are emerging to advocate for Amish individuals, especially women, who need assistance navigating these challenges, offering resources, counseling, and a platform for their stories. In light of these changes, there is growing hope that awareness will lead to change, even in the most isolated Amish communities. While the patriarchal structure remains central to Amish society, ongoing discussions about autonomy and the importance of consent are starting to reach the edges of the community, and marking a subtle but meaningful movement toward recognizing personal boundaries and respect within marriage. Leaving the Amish community is a decision with significant implications and often brings profound changes to an individual's life. This process, sometimes referred to as separating from the community, involves distancing oneself from family, friends, and a familiar way of life. For many Amish individuals, connections to their community are deeply intertwined with their personal identity, making the choice to leave, whether for personal freedom, new experiences, or a different lifestyle, a journey that is both unique and challenging. For Amish individuals who choose to explore life outside their community, the traditional practice of shunning or ostracism can lead to a form of disconnection from their community. This process often involves a reduction in social contact. Individuals may no longer participate in family gatherings, religious services, or community events. They may also experience some distance in family interactions, such as separate dinners or limiting certain types of communication. This separation is intended to uphold the community's values, sending a message that choosing a life outside the Amish way can result in a shift in relationships and connections within this close-knit community. For many Amish individuals, family bonds hold deep significance, and the possibility of separation brings emotional weight. The impact of distancing from family and friends is often challenging, and for some, this sense of loss can be a reason they consider returning to the community after leaving. The decision to leave the Amish community is emotionally complex. The impact can be profound, as individuals may lose close connections with family, friends, and the unique cultural identity in which they were raised. For those raised in these tight-knit communities, entering modern society often means starting over. They need to learn new skills and adapt to lifestyles that can feel unfamiliar, which can sometimes be overwhelming. However, with resilience and support, many Amish individuals successfully navigate this transition, finding ways to blend their upbringing with the opportunities in the broader world. Leaving a close community can be a challenging choice, involving a delicate balance between seeking personal freedom and leaving behind family traditions. For some individuals, finding love with someone outside their community can make this choice even more complicated. Relationships can be a strong motivator for change, but also heighten the emotional weight of the decision, as stepping away can bring significant emotional turmoil. Leaving the Amish community can mean embracing a new life and potentially distancing oneself from family and friends. Organizations like the Mission for Ex-Amish offer support to those who have left, helping them navigate life outside the community by providing resources, housing, and basic education. Some individuals turn to online platforms, sharing their stories with a global audience in hopes of raising awareness about the costs of leaving the community. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us. Click the video that's appearing on your screen now. I'm sure you'll love this content. Comment below on which country you'd like to see next on our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining us. Leave a comment, give a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting videos. See you in the next video.